already laughing. I know my like headphones are being pulled down by this other cord. So they're like tugging just a little bit at my ears.
Yeah,
Okay.
I started laughing immediately today, guys, because I did the countdown and started the recording like before Aubrey was ready, just because I thought it was funny. Aubrey was still bending over and fixing stuff, and I'm like, 3, 2, 1, go.
That was so
Um,
funny.
Guys, if you're not watching us do this on YouTube, you're missing out because the video really adds a whole other dimension to this learning and entertainment. So check out IELTS Energy TV, guys. Every single podcast episode we do is also on video on IELTS Energy TV.
I know I've started really enjoying watching podcasts on YouTube. There are a few that
Nice.
they've started putting them on YouTube. I'm like, this is just so fun. I feel like it's fun to see their facial expressions and my
Yeah.
hand gestures, which are all the like happening all the time. It's
I love
fun.
your hand gestures. It's one of my favorite things. All right, guys. So today we have a wonderful student question about using some slangy speech in the IELTS speaking exam, when they can use it, where they can use it. So, guys, get ready for an awesome vocabulary episode today that is highly laser focused on the speaking exam.
Yes, this is going to be awesome. We're going to answer this question and give you guys some really good vocabulary for speaking, for introducing your part two answer in a really high scoring way. Some great vocab today. So I'm excited.
Yes, me too. I do want to just shout out two of our recent favorite episodes, guys. If you are not following us, maybe you missed these amazing episodes. So we did a live listening practice with audio questions and answers. So definitely check that out, guys. IELTS Energy 1335, IELTS Part 1 live listening practice. And then yesterday's episode was really, really good. Definitely not yesterday. Sorry,
I know we're so
Tuesday's
used to
episode.
Tuesday, Wednesday. So yes, Tuesday's episode.
Today is Friday,
Yay.
Friday, Friday. The last one was Tuesday. IELTS Energy 1337. Can AI write IELTS questions? Vocabulary, writing, scoring, questions. It's all in there.
Yes.
Okay.
And it turns out it can. You guys use ChatGPT to
Yeah.
get practice IELTS questions. Man, who knew?
Long story short, it can. Really cool. That episode was so fun on Tuesday.
Yes.
All right. So today, guys, let's dig into this student question.
All right, this is a question from Johnny, who is in our Three Keys IELTS community. Whenever you guys sign up for one of our courses, you are able to also join a community full of very motivated students. You can ask questions, motivate each other. It's fantastic. So allearsenglish.com/keys, by the way. And this is Johnny's question. How often are you using in the USA reckon and fair enough? Here in Australia, these are very popular. Can I say it on my speaking test? Thanks a lot. I don't have words to say thank you to you both.
Oh,
You're
yay. What a
welcome.
sweet message.
Yes.
Thank you, Johnny. So let's tackle that first question first. Do we use those in America? Um, Speaking for myself, I never say reckon. I think I say it if I'm joking sometimes because that's kind of something like a stereotypical, like Western cowboy would say or whatever, like, oh, I reckon you can. So that's
Totally.
kind of an older phrase to my mind, but I do say fair enough, and we will explain that meaning very soon, guys. I say fair enough a lot, and actually, my son uses it a lot too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't use I reckon very often either. Same thing, right? It just means I think, but I hear it a lot in like older Westerns. Maybe
Mhm.
my grandpa says it every now and then, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is more common in other English speaking countries. The
Mhm.
examiner will definitely know what you mean, but
Yeah.
it is very informal.
So, yeah, you can totally still use I reckon to mean I think or I feel, but we're going to give you some more synonyms for that because you don't want to repeat it, right? So, we'll give you some synonyms for that in just a second. But yes, reckon is informal. It means I think, totally fine for speaking part one if you don't say it too much. All right. So, let's get into some synonyms for reckon then, because I really want to get to fair enough. I feel like
Yes.
That's one that a lot of students won't know, but let's cover I reckon first.
Yes, and there are so many ways to say this, to say "I think" or "in my opinion." A lot of the, speaking practice I do, students will sort of have a couple that they're familiar with, like
Yeah,
"actually," and then they'll say it over and over and over and over.
so many
You
times.
can't repeat vocabulary like that, so there are lots of options here. You need to learn several of these. So, of course, there's "I think," and then also "I feel" or "I feel like," and a really high level one is "to my mind," which means the same as "in my opinion."
Yeah, exactly. I love that second one, I feel like, because you could just say I feel to mean I think. But it's more natural and slangy to say, I feel like it's not a good idea. I feel like there are more disadvantages. So we'll tell you which are formal and informal here in a second. But let's go through this list. So Aubrey gave you three. I'll give you the next three, guys. I believe. It seems to me that is a lovely phrase. I really love that
Yes.
synonym. And here's a long one, guys. I can't help but think that such and such. That is an awesome sentence starter.
Yes, and then we have a lot of options when we're saying "to be honest," right? You can say "to be honest," "frankly," "in all honesty." There are so many here that why say the same one over and over and over? Switch it up. Lots of different ways to say that.
I just thought of a new one that's very formal instead of to be honest because on honestly, we hear students say that a lot, to
Yes.
be honest,
Yes.
right? So here's another paraphrase. To be totally transparent here. That is a lovely phrase, and it just is like, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth now, even if it's not that great."
I love
Um,
that.
to be totally transparent here. So, okay, informal, guys. I reckon, I think, I feel, or I feel like. It seems to me, I think could be informal as well. Those are the best for speaking part one, those informal phrases.
Yes, "to my mind" would be great for speaking part 3, as well as "I can't
Mhm,
help but think that." And then all
mhm.
of these, "to be honest," "frankly," "to be frank," "to be totally transparent." These are all a little more formal, a little more
Yeah,
polished sounding, so they're great for part
totally.
3 answers.
Okay, fair enough. I love this phrase. What does it mean, Aubrey?
Yeah, it's interesting because when Johnny first asked the question in our community, I was like, "Oh, you can't
Mhm.
really use fair enough on IELTS because you're responding to someone else's opinion usually, right? It's more
Yeah.
conversational. If someone says something, maybe you don't totally agree, but you can see their point, you might
Yeah.
say, "Fair enough." I say this a lot as well. I love that you and your son both use it.
Yeah, it's so great. For like, James gets in these lexical chunk phases where,
Nice.
he'll have his favorites for a while. Hear Me Out is his favorite right now, but Fair Enough also had a really long trend there for a while. But anyway, yeah, so fair enough, we say when we're responding to somebody else's opinion, right? It's always in a conversation. So all it means is like, I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is reasonable. I see your point. And you can follow it up with maybe a rebuttal, like, here's another way to think about it. Here's my opinion, which is a little different, right? Or it can just end the conversation and just be like, yeah, no, I understand. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
Okay. But
actually
all it
great.
means is like, I understand.
It would be great for any conversation where you don't exactly see eye to eye. I feel like we should talk about this on Allers English. If you guys aren't
Yeah.
following, there's so much great stuff on Allers English because when you're having an argument, there are respectful ways to do that. And a lot of it's with the
Mhm.
vocabulary you use. And this is such a great response. If you don't totally agree, to say, like, fair enough, I respect your opinion. I see where you're
Yep.
coming from. And then you share another perspective.
Totally, totally. So, initially, why Aubrey responded immediately like you're not going to use this on the exam is because the examiner will never share their opinion with you. So there's really no place that you would respond with like fair enough. It's like,
Right.
let me see your passport. Fair enough.
No.
What's your favorite color? Fair enough. Like, you would never use it. But we did think of an awesome way you can use it in speaking part 2, guys, when you're telling a story.
Yes. So here's this amazing example Jessica came up with. I'll let you guys know. You say, the hotel manager was like, sorry, there's a conference. We're overbooked. We don't have a room for you. And I was all, well, fair enough. But you at least have to offer us an alternative and put us up somewhere else. Right? So
I
good
know.
if you're like,
It's
because
good, right?
this is so smart to do when you're telling a story to sort of narrate the dialogue. Say what was
Yes.
happening, be like, and then I said, or I was all, and say what you each said. Then you could totally use it.
Yeah, I tried to include a couple things in here that you guys can take away for speaking part 2 stories. Like Aubrey said, it is such a great strategy to report the speech, right? To
Yes.
reenact through dialogue a conversation you had with somebody else that features as part of the story. Because there's an opportunity now. There's space to use other natural vocabulary that examiners don't hear from any other student. So here, instead of saying he said and then I said, don't say said.
Right.
Instead, be like the hotel manager was like. Okay, so instead, the hotel manager said, and I was all. We say that instead of
It's
and I said.
much more native and natural. Even when you were giving the instruction, you said, instead, be like, and then you
Yeah,
said, right? Because we rarely say, they said this, and then I said this. We'll always, there's
yeah.
so many other native, natural ways to do that.
Totally, totally. So it just points again to our amazing number one strategy of always trying to tell a story in part two. This is another great reason because you can work in vocab that other students will not be demonstrating.
Absolutely. Ooh, so many good answers, so much good info here. Thank you, Johnny, for the question. And I love all this vocab. I'm excited for you guys to start using this, especially fair enough, for practice answers when you're sharing dialogue and stories.
Yes, totally. All right, guys. So hit follow if you're not already following. If you are new to IELTS Energy or a recent follower, then we recommend two very recent episodes. On Tuesday, we did Can AI Write IELTS Questions? That's episode 1337. And last week, we did a live listening practice for you guys, episode 1335. So scroll up and check those out, guys. And yeah, have a great weekend, and we'll be back next Tuesday.
Awesome. See you next week.